What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be showing off a match video that I played at a card shop against one of my friends with my Shaddoll Invoked list that I've been testing out. We were originally planning on playing in a tournament that day, but everyone wanted to play Shaddolls, and everyone had just gotten their structure decks, so no one really wanted to just play 5 rounds of Shaddoll mirrors, so we opted to just play some friendly games. My buddy here on the right was, I think, one of 2 people out of like the 8 or so that were there that didn't have a Shaddoll deck, so I thought it'd be good to show off a little bit of what the deck can do against other matchups. He's playing a variant of Heroes that's a little more defensive, I think. I believe he's running like 3 copies of Mystic Mine, really cool card called Everyone's Favorite Hero, or Favorite Hero. It allows you to activate a field spell from your deck during the battle phase, which allows him to just clear through cards while Mystic Mine is preventing your opponent from like using any of their effects or to stop any of your effects. Elemental Heroes has the ability to spam out a lot of monsters with good removal, like that new Sunrise card, which when a hero monster is in a battle, it can like pop a card, which is really fantastic. But as you see, starting off, we opened up the Shaddoll Fusion, so we searched our invocation, then Doll fused it away to make the window, and just passed it off. Very simple opening. I'm not entirely sure what his deck can do at this point. I haven't played against heroes too much, but I know they special summon a lot, so I went and made Winda pass. Unfortunately, didn't have the cards in hand to make the Avermax as well, which is pretty unfortunate, mostly due to the fact that if he just opens a Stratos, he can normal summon it, search for his hero, what is it called? Honestinios, and just beat over the top of Winda, recurring back some advantage. I'm not sure what the 2 sets are. I think I might have opened up like the rest Shaddoll Fusion just to like float into more stuff. Sorry about the glare too, this was a pretty spontaneous setup we had going. Winda's effect, adding back the Shaddoll Fusion for next turn, which is going to be a huge play, mostly because he's going to for sure end up on an extra monster, or a monster in the extra, or a special summon from the extra deck. So we're going to get crazy value out of our Shaddoll Fusion. Oh, looks like he summoned a Shadow Mist, and now he's mass changing it into Dark Law, I believe. I'm going to chain my rest Shaddoll Fusion. Oh yeah, I'm chaining in response because I think he's going to go into the Dark Law, and as I flip it, I realize that it's almost a little too late, because if he does summon Dark Law off of this mass change, then the rest Shaddoll gets banished either way, which is pretty unfortunate. But at least I get to float my resources, I guess. When I activated it at the time, I hadn't considered that it would just get banished. Fortunately for me, even though it's taking me a while to make my decision, even though there's no real decision to make, grab the Hedgehog and set it to the field. And then I was about to put it in the graveyard, but I remembered I have to wait to see what he puts. But he summons out the Anki, which is pretty good for me, because I think that's an L Shaddoll Fusion set. So when he goes in for the attack, I can't just fuse into a Winda, so I'm going to probably activate that set L Shaddoll Fusion to summon the App Cologne, so that I can negate his Anki. That way he won't get to just plow through all of my resources for free, because App Cologne on summon allows you to target 1 card on the field and permanently negate all of its effects, which is really cool. So not only is it a really gorgeous card, but it has a great effect. And if he does end up killing it with that Anki redirect attack into it, I do get to search for any card in my deck, which is fantastic. It doesn't look... Oh, he was saying how he wanted to go back and search his Shadow Mist, off his Shadow Mist. He forgot about that search effect. I was wondering why I didn't trigger my Doll effects in Graveyard. Yeah, so like I said, we're playing some friendly games, testing out our decks. So I'm resolving my effects now from my Fusion. And that's like one of the craziest things about Shaddolls, is the fact that every time you fuse, you get a plus. If you fuse on your opponent's turn to make cards that like stop them from like clearing your board, you plus, and you set up your plays for the next turn. When your fusion monsters get cleared from the board, you add back your fusions so you can plus again on the next turn, and it's just a whole huge cycle of like, he can clear this App Cologne, but my App Cologne's going to search me a card if it dies, and I have a beast set, and if he pops the beast with his Pankratops instead of attacking into it, I only get to draw 1 card. I still get to draw my 1 card, instead of draw 1, discard 2, and as you saw, I draw into Damage Juggler here, but I opt not to We'll see what I opt to discard. But either way, I'm going to get value off these cards. There's not a lot he can do outside of banishing them. That really hurts me. And as it seems, he doesn't have the second mass change to be able to go into a Dark Law on this turn, which is unfortunate for him. But he does have the poly to, I think, go off a little harder. And then the Beast send that, and it got set. Okay. So now he cleared my monster, but not really. And then he attempts to end the battle phase, and he was a little confused about what I did. But I was just saying, oh, no, before you end your battle phase, I want to discard my Damage Juggler so that it's in the graveyard for next turn. Because Damage Juggler is really cool like that, where you can just, in the battle phase, discard it so that it's set up in your grave on the next turn. So that way your opponent doesn't actually have to pressure any more attacks for you to be able to get advantage. And that way, at the beginning of your turn, you don't have to just say, like, battle phase to get a search. And I think I did it right away because I wanted something that'd be, I guess, an extender at the beginning of my turn. I don't quite remember what I drew. Oh, but no, that's fine. We'll see. And I think I drew the second Invocation for turn. And as you'll see, like, Invocation is a pretty crazy card. As much as I wish, like, this deck didn't need it, the best part about Invocation is just that it's a fusion spell that doesn't say once per turn on it. The Falco using its effect to bring a card back, debating between the Wendy and the Beast there, before linking off the two into a Cloth Heap, and then Apgalon effect, getting a Squamata, which is really good. Like I said, even though he didn't clear the Apgalon, it's still going to get value no matter what, because it leaves the field. It has to leave the field at some point and be sent to the graveyard. Heroes can be a pretty tough matchup though, like if they're able to establish Dark Law successfully. But we have a ton of ways in the deck that you can out it. You can just make an Apgalon and turn off the Dark Law at any point, which is pretty good. And here I use I put the Cloth Heap on the board and then activate Invocation so that I can bait out that pop, because I want to be able to resolve my construct and like properly go through my stuff, use my construct to keep extending farther. And now this Wendy gets to trigger, and like like I said, dolls, they just float for crazy amounts of advantage. We have the Resh in graveyard already. I believe we have another fusion card already banished, or we'll probably just link off this construct. Oh yeah, and then construct's effect to dump so that I can pop that back row. Turns out it was just a bluff set miracle fusion. And then from here we have, like, honestly a little too many options for me to consider. This is one of the things while testing the decks that's gotten me a little bit flustered. It feels like I have like 1,000 things I can do in a turn potentially. Here I'm looking at what I can Resh away to summon back, what would be beneficial in that regard. And I think I'm going to go for not a fusion monster here, but a Squamata. We'll see. Flip summon, effect activates, summoning the Squamata. Oh yeah, to give me the alternate types that I need to go into the Alistair, the Madness Invoker, because Construct's actually a light fairy, so you're able to use Construct plus any other Shaddoll that's like a dark spellcaster in order to go into Alistair. And this card is pretty crazy too. The fact that you get to discard cards to add additional fusion spells in the middle of your turn is super powerful, especially like since your dolls are going to be getting their triggers anyways. He's got the Anki, so now I get to use my Shaddoll fusion from deck for the first time this turn. Just throwing away some random cards. I'm going to summon a Construct, go plus off of this fusion, dump a card, draw a card. Like it all gets pretty crazy pretty fast. So we're gonna, here I almost forget about my Alistair effect too. Like there's just so much going on. So I draw my card, discard for Alistair's effect to add the Invocation from deck to hand, and then Construct effect to dump. At this point I think there's not really much left I can dump. Like I'm going through my graveyard to see what I've already used in the turn. So go for the Hedgehog. Hedgehog hasn't used its effect. We get the draw for Wendy. Even though we've used the Wendy for the turn, likely just because like we want to keep cycling resources, we want to keep adding Shaddoll cards from our deck to our hand. And even though we've made a ton of plays this turn, we still have like 7 cards in hand. Even though I think we ended our last turn with 2 in hand. 2 in hand and like 1 monster on board. So this, as you can see, this deck just floats like crazy. Now we're finally starting to go into our Invoked plays. We make our first Makaba before committing further, you know, if he has the Nibiru by chance, right? Getting the Makaba on board before we commit to the Boral Sword Dragon. is pretty good. Although if he probably had the Nibiru, he would have likely used it earlier in the turn. And then we Invocation again, because it's a fusion spell that's not once per turn. Alistair's treated as Alistair the Invoker in the graveyard. And so we summon out the second Macabre, shuffle back, get the Alistair back to hand. And then he Honesty Neos is here as a meme, just because he's conceding the game. I didn't really realize at first. And with that, we finish up there. As you guys see, the deck's pretty powerful. That Alistair actually gets bonus utility in the hand because it gets to boost all of those monsters on the field. Not just the invoked cards, which is really cool. Meaning that we'll get to go even further beyond. As you see, I was just showing him that I was going to end up on the window still. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that gameplay feature. This has been Underclocked here. Until next time.